Turbo Duels. This style of dueling debuted during the Yugioh 5D's series. In its simplest form, it is essentially playing the Yu-Gi-Oh card game on a motorbike.
Card games on motorcycles! He said it! He said it!
However, it is transformed into so much more than that thanks to a very specific field spell, Speed World. With this field spell in play, the entire game changes. And today, we're going to be going over all of those changes, so you can play the game at home if you want to. No, wait, don't do that. Don't do that. To initiate a turbo duel, both duelists must be in possession of a duel runner. And for legal reasons, you should also possess a duel license. A duel runner, or a D-wheel as it's known in the Japanese, is basically the motorbike. It's got some screens built in so you can check the stats of the duel and everything like that. The helmet that you have as well also has stats built into it if you want to look at it through that as well. But more importantly, it has a dual disc integrated into the central hub. Fun fact about duel runners, these are actually 100% safe for the environment. They produce no toxic fumes whatsoever. And it's thanks to a very special power source called NON-OFFICAL. NON-OFFICAL, which is a play on energy, so very clever. NON-OFFICAL is essentially a perfected perpetual motion machine that generates energy with no negative side effects. Well, except for the fact if it ever spins the opposite way, it causes a catastrophic explosion. That clean energy, baby. Also, yes, if you want to legally take part in turbo duels, you should pass your duel license exam so that you're legal on the road. I'm sure some villains didn't take their duel licenses, but I recommend you, if you want to go out and duel on a motorbike, definitely get qualified for that. It makes me wonder if they have duel insurance if they crash on the roads or anything like that. And do they have to play duel runner tax on their vehicles and stuff? Do they have to get them serviced? They probably have to get them serviced. Just makes you think, right? When a turbo duel begins, the field spell Speed World or Speed World 2 automatically activates in both players' field zones. This field spell is unaffected by all card effects, so it essentially just cannot be removed under any circumstances. And by that same logic, you also can't activate a new field spell. I'd go as far as to say there are actually no field spells available in turbo duels, so I would say you probably can't use them. But the question then becomes, what does Speed World do? Well, with the field spell active, it grants a variety of permanent effects to both duelists. These effects include, during the turbo duel, only speed spell cards can be activated. The reason why normal spell cards can't be used in a turbo duel is simply because they're just not fast enough to keep up with the pace of the duel. So instead, you have to use something else. We'll get to that a little bit later. During each player's standby phase, place one speed counter on their own Speed World field spell, with a maximum of 12 counters being allowed on the card. When a player takes damage, remove one speed counter for each multiple of 1000 damage they took. Later on in the series, Speed World's going to get an upgraded form called Speed World 2. It essentially is exactly the same as Speed World, except for two big differences. One is that there's no longer a detrimental cost for being attacked, so you don't lose speed counters now if you take damage. And it also adds the ability to remove any number of spell counters from your field spell to activate one of the following effects. By removing 4 counters, you can reveal any number of speed spell cards in your hand and inflict 800 damage to your opponent for each card revealed. You can remove 7 counters to draw 1 card. You can remove 10 counters to destroy 1 card on the field. Now, I do want to mention this because I think it's quite important. If we actually look at the original Speed World field spell, you can see that it doesn't actually say that you can't use normal spell cards. It says that you actually take 2000 damage for using non-speed spell cards. However, the argument against this, even though it's written on the card, is that no one obeys this at all throughout the entire series. Not one person plays a normal spell card, and in fact, on several occasions, people outright say you just can't use normal spells at all. When Speed World activates, both players' duel runners switch to autopilot. This can be toggled on and off at will. The reason autopilot automatically goes on is so that both duelists can focus on the duel more so than the road, because that would be quite dangerous, right? Well, After the introduction of Speed World 2, well, it changes a little bit. When Speed World 2 activates, autopilot is now disabled. Why would they do this? Well, it's to make the duels even more competitive. Now you have got to split your brain power between dueling and watching the road. So you need to be even more skilled now to take part in a Speed World 2 Turbo Duel. Both duelists start a Turbo Duel with 4,000 life points and 5 cards in their hand, with the turn player drawing. But who goes first in a Turbo Duel? Is it random? No, actually. There's 3 different ways that you can pick who goes first. The player who goes first can be decided by both duelists in 3 different ways. Both agree on who goes first. The challenger goes first. The first player to reach the first corner of the arena goes first. Pick any of those that floats your boat, and that's how you decide who goes first in a Turbo Duel. The number of speed counters a duelist has will determine the max speed that a player's duel runner can move at. The average top speed of a duel runner is about 140 miles per hour. More speed means better maneuverability to avoid attacks, while slower speed causes you to fall further behind, and could potentially make you lose track of your opponent's plays and limit your ability to respond. When an opponent declares an attack, you have until the attack connects to respond. This means that if you can outmaneuver your opponent's attack, it will buy you precious extra seconds to think, oh god, what would be the best card to use here? I know that trap card I set 2 turns ago. I'll use that right now. So as long as you avoid that attack, you've got more time to respond. And that is one of the biggest appeals to the Turbo Dueling format. Avoid your opponent's attacks, you can buy yourself more time. In official tournaments, a player automatically loses if a duel runner comes to a complete stop for any reason. Be that malfunctioning, crashing, or just giving up on the duel. If you stop your duel runner completely at any point in the duel, you automatically lose. However, while you're okay to bump your opponent just a little tiny bit, a little love tap, you know, you're not allowed to sabotage your opponent's duel runner before or during a duel under any circumstances. Most likely, that will get you disqualified if the higher-ups catch you. But I mean, if you can do it without getting caught, I mean, you can get away with it. Outside of tournaments, if a duelist crashes, then the duel is made void, and no winner is declared. This occurred in the case of Yusei versus Kalin. Yusei crashed, Kalin was literally about to win with a direct attack, but since Yusei's duel runner pretty much exploded, he was unable to continue, so the duel ended with no winner. I feel like I'm missing something really important. Oh yes, during the duel, duelists can use Turbo Duel exclusive cards called speed spells. Speed spells are a type of spell card that require speed counters to be used. So this is the purpose of the field spell Speed World and the accumulation of speed counters every turn. Due to the requirement of spell counters, powerful spells tend to be only usable late game and require a bigger cost to be used. For instance, spell speed Shift Down removes 6 of your speed counters to be activated. When you do that, you draw 2 cards. Whereas another card like Speed Spell Final Attack, well, you can only use that when you have 8 or more spell counters. It doesn't take away any of your spell counters, but by activating it, select one face-up monster you control, double its attack. And just to reiterate, you can't use any normal spells in a speed duel. And by normal spells, I don't just mean normal spells, I mean normal, quick play, continuous, and as well, field spells. An interesting way of looking at Speed World and speed counters is it's comparable to other card games that use mana systems. You gain 1 new mana every turn, so your more powerful monsters come out towards the end of matches, whereas your weaker ones come out earlier, so that's what they're for. And the final rule, all other Turbo Duel rules follow those of regular duel monsters. Normal summoning monsters, special summoning monsters, setting trap cards face down, activating trap cards, attacking directly, attacking monsters. Other than that, it's just the same as regular. But yeah, I guess those are all the rules of Turbo Dueling. I highly recommend you don't go out on your motorbikes and start doing this on the streets. Let me know if there's any that I've missed. But other than that, thank you all for watching. Catch you later.